Well, what I know is what I've heard from talking to Emmett Bundy and reading on his blog. Apparently what's going on is they're scheduled to be sent back to prison. The judge originally had sentenced them to only a year and they served their time, but then the government appealed that decision, and the United Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the judge had not sentenced them according to the guidelines, and so they mandated, I believe it's a 5-year sentence they have to complete. What I know is that the Hammonds at this time don't want anybody to try to stop that from happening. So I think that's one of the main problems with people wanting to intervene is if they don't want our help, I don't think it's right for us to go in there and try to force them to accept our help. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like with Kim Davis, we offered her protection against the U.S. Marshals arresting her again for contempt of court if that were to happen. And she declined our help. I can't force myself on somebody. So that's one problem I see with this, is that guys are upset about it, and I understand they don't like the BLM, I don't either. And we definitely are dealing with a lot of corruption and a lot of oppression of the people, especially in rural America. And we all know it's by design to depopulate the West. And so we do want to resist against it, but if someone doesn't want our help and wants to go to jail, you can say, well, they're being coerced. Well, yeah, potentially, but if they don't want their family in the middle of an armed standoff, I don't think it's right for us to go in there and try to force that on them. I think it's a wrong way to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't let Obama be successful when it comes to starting civil unrest and riots in this country. They will use that as a civil emergency to bring in a type of soft martial law like Europe has done after they brought in all the jihadis and allowed them to attack. The stage is set for classical martial law in the United States. George Soros, who's overthrown many other countries using similar divide and conquer tactics, is on record funding Black Lives Matter and other groups, and the mainstream media is trying to exacerbate tension in local communities. And out of this crisis, they intend to bring in the, quote, Strong Cities UN initiative that globalizes, internationalizes local government. It's political correctness intimidating people to submit to this international takeover. Now, it's been known for a long time, and it's come out in federal court, that many of the militias, though they're constitutional and made up of great people, end up getting infiltrated and led in many cases by federal provocateurs, or even worse, by foundation provocateurs like the Southern Poverty Law Center that ran Elohim City, where the reported Oklahoma City bombing got hatched, which we know was an inside job, major false flag. 2016 is here, ladies and gentlemen. It is already the 4th, and all hell is breaking loose in the stock market, militarily overseas, so many issues. And the establishment is going to want a political diversion here in America. And they've been putting out the talking points that white terrorists are about to start attacking, that white terrorists are about to be involved in insurrection, while pushing the military, pushing veterans, pushing citizens of all race, colors, and creeds with more and more federal occupation, more and more federal tyranny. So let's be clear. And we're about to go in here and show you some of the articles here in a moment. The Bundys and others have very legitimate issues with the federal power grab over land outside of law, and people doing controlled burns and being called arsonists and people being charged. The federal government is power grabbing everywhere. It's true. It's lawless. It's shutting down power plants outside of law. It's opening borders outside of law. It's funding ISIS and Al-Qaeda outside of law. But all that's coming out, and the establishment is in political trouble right now. So they want to overturn the chessboard right now. We need Americans to realize we're all being played off against each other. Right here. CNN to provide an hour of airtime to Obama's gun control pitch today. Town hall, full pitch, and what it's really about is executive power outside of law. Then the even more hardcore gun control, I predict, is coming after this, but this is unprecedented. The Hammonds, excellent article by Kurt Nimmo, targeted because government wants to steal their land. The entire story by Kurt Nimmo of how they stole the land, how they're stealing other people's land, how it's criminal, how it's wrong, how they've persecuted them. Absolutely, they've been wronged. Absolutely. My issue is the timing of this now allows the whole debate to not be about the gun grab, to not be about all the gun control, to not be about the victim disarmament, but to be about citizens with guns taking over buildings. It's an empty wildlife refuge building. The feds are grabbing everybody's property in the area. They're the ones with armed force out of control. But again, it's the federal government, not even the feds on the ground that are the problem. It's the whole UN Agenda 21. But read that article, you'll understand it. Then the other perspective. People are asking on InfoWars, well, why are you pro-Bundy and then anti-Bundy? We're not. We're showing both sides. And Paul Watson's written an article that's on drudgereport.com, Oregon standoff could boost Obama's gun control push. I started saying this yesterday. As soon as we had the news early in the morning, this had started Saturday night. Kurt Nimitz had already written about it Saturday night. And obviously, by the time I looked it up, they were already blaming the Second Amendment. It's obvious. It's the timing of this, okay? Plus, the Hammonds say they don't want the Bundys there. That's another problem. It was the grazing rights of the Bundys in southern Nevada. That's why we supported them. They were in the right completely, okay? Continuing, liberal media tweets call for National Guard cops to confront the wildlife refuge occupiers. Many liberals want Waco-style response to government. They want them killed. See, it's all about race war. These are the Soros White House operatives already trying to make this racial when it has nothing to do with race. We're literally walking into their trap, and you know there's provocateurs there on the ground, probably not even from the FBI, but from the big foundations, just like we exposed Hal Turner and others.